Welcome to You Can Plumbing. I'm Mark the plumber, and today I'm going to help you fix your leaking kitchen faucet handle. Now that's a mouthful, but it does happen. Now on this channel here, we're going to take a very in-depth look at how to fix this. We're going to walk you through it because a lot of people, you've never done any repairs before, you're not very confident with it, you probably have been procrastinating for a while, him and hawing about calling a plumber, but that's pretty expensive. And I'm telling you right now, you can do this repair. You can do it, trust me. Anybody can do this repair. It's very simple, takes like 2 tools, super easy. So with that being said, I'd also like to say, if you don't need as in-depth as I'm gonna get into this repair, because this I'm looking for the people that haven't done any repairs before, maybe lack the confidence in themselves to do this. Well, I'm telling you, you can do it. But if you don't need that, I'm also going to make a You Can Plumbing quickie where I just get right down to it. We bang the repair out. I just go step by step. I give you tip by tip and wring it out real fast. So if that's more your style, or maybe you watch this video and you want something that's a little faster at getting to the points, well, watch the You Can Plumbing quickie, how to fix the leaking kitchen faucet handle. Whew, that is one title. But that's what we're fixing today. So I mean, it's an easy repair. You may feel like you don't know how to do anything, but I'm telling you right now, anybody can do this repair. And you'll feel so much better about yourself after you do it. You'll feel like you're a couple inches taller, you'll walk with your chest out. You'll be able to tell people that you did this, and they will look at you differently. They'll look at you in amazement, and they'll be like, hey, that's awesome for that guy. That's a phenomenal thing that you just did. So let's stop talking about it and let's start making ourselves feel better about ourselves. So let's get to it. So right off the hop, let's make sure we have our Allen keys, hex keys. They go by a couple of different names. Your water pump pliers. They're often called channel lock after one of the brand names of them. I believe their official name is like lock and groove pliers. Now, if somebody asked me to pass them lock and groove pliers, I'm not sure I would have had any clue what they were asking me for originally before I did this video. But with that being said, the number one tip that I'm always going to give you, always, shut the water off. Know where your valves are, shut your water off before you start doing any repairs whatsoever. Trust me, you'll thank yourself for this and save yourself a ton of headaches. Nothing worse than getting into a repair. You take that handle off and the set nut that holds it in there, and that water starts coming out, it won't take long to make a massive mess and a massive headache for you. So I'm going to show you how to avoid that, but my number one tip, always shut the water off or you will be sorry. And it will be a very bad day. I don't care if you're, whatever plumbing repair you're doing, shut the water off. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to drop under the sink. At my house here, we have valves under the sink. Most houses do, but I have been at houses where they don't. So you may have to go searching for where your valves are. But 99% of the time, your valves are under the sink. So without further ado, let's take a look. Whoop. Pop that open. And I'll bring you on down here with me. The water off. So you see a bunch of valves in here. There's one that kind of goes off on a 90 right here. That's for the dishwasher. We don't need to worry about that one. One on the right, almost always the right is your cold and the left is your hot. You'll see up here, this is a nice little quarter turn valve. There's a story why this valve's a little different than others that I will tell once we have 1,000 subscribers. It was a crazy reason that my sink was not working properly, but we're here to turn this water off, so let's do that. So, as always, when you're turning a tap off, righty-tighty, that turns it off. To the left is to turn stuff back on, loose, lefty-loosey. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So, here we go, we'll tighten this up. A few cranks, you don't have to crank it super tight, just snug it up. And now, the other one up here, it just points straight up. It's a nice easy quarter turn valve. It's the valve on the left hand side. it's normally the hot. Now, it's not always going to be, but that's generally the rule of thumb is right is cold, left is hot. So it's nice. It'll follow the same thing, even though it's a quarter turn valve to the right, righty-tighty. There we go, water's off. If you ever see a valve and the handle is sticking out, 99.9% of the time, that means that valve is turned off. So we've successfully turned those valves off. Now let's pop up top, check, make sure that we did. Alrighty, we got our water valve shut off. Close that cupboard door now. Now we'll just check. Turn the water on. Test your hot and cold sides. They're all water, I hope. There we go. No water coming out. So now we're almost ready to start the repair. Now the second big tip I'm going to give you is always put your drain plugs in. Always put your drain plugs in. It'll save you a ton of work. You know, there's small parts inside this handle. There's a set screw. If it comes all the way out, falls in here, it's going to go down the drain for sure. So put them in both sides. It'll save you probably an hour's worth of work and a lot of profanity. And if you have little kids, we don't need to teach them that. They'll learn it on their own. So always put your drain plugs in. You'll be so happy you did that. Those are my two big tips to start this out. That'll save us lots of headache, lots of time. So I think what we should do now, we should bring you in a little closer. We got our Allen keys. We got our water pump pliers. We're good to go. But now I think you need to come down nice and low and see what's going on nice and up close. So here we go. All right, we're down nice and low. We got a bird's eye view or eagle's eye view, or I don't know, a much better view of what's going on down here. Now I'm going to remove my drip catcher, also known as a dishcloth. And now we're going to see the handle up close. So you can see right here, this is the hole that we have to go into. There's a set screw up inside here. Now your handle may have a little plastic round piece here. All you have to do is pop that out. You can try using your fingernails or just get a little flat screwdriver, get a tiny one, and just, it'll pop out, no problem. It might have a little bit of a buildup of guck around it to make it a little more difficult, but it will pop out. Could be here, could be in the top. There's a million different ways that they've built these. So now we have to grab our Allen keys or hex heads. So, you know, you look at this, you can see this is going to be the most difficult one because you can't see up in there to see how big it is to even start. But I'm going to tell you, it's definitely not going to be any of the top three. They're way too big. Probably not even the fourth. Definitely won't be the smallest, so we have a couple to try here. So we'll start with the second from the bottom. So you just take it, and now when you have a handle like this, if you have the other handle, it's just going to be awesome. You'll be able to see right in there. This one, not so easy, so we have to take it. Now the set screw should be on the same angle as the handle. So you go in there, you can kind of feel like you slid inside something, but you're not getting any, it's not biting at all. You can see it just spinning around. So we know that one is too small. So we'll put it back in there. We'll go with the next one. So here we go. We'll put it in there. Oh, there we go. Feels like it bit. So now the same thing, when you're using one of these, I'll put it in so you can see it a little bit better. So it's sticking out this way. So right would be turning it this way. That's to tighten it, so it won't go any further that way. So lefty-loosey, always lefty-loosey. So we'll turn it. Now if yours is in there real snug and you can't turn using the little end, turn it around. Uh-oh, now I got to try and get back in there. There we go. Now we're in. And now you may have to go around 2 or 3 times. That's all right. And then eventually it'll come off. And that's what you want to get when you're shopping for hex head Allen keys. You want to buy a smaller set. You don't need the ones that are 6 inches, 10 inches long. I know as guys we have a tendency to think that's the best. It is not. It actually will cause you more problems. Then we want to set the parts down in the order that we take them off. so that we can put them back on the proper way. So now we've exposed the cartridge here. Now this piece here, it looks like it's part of this. It's just a decorative ring. You may or may not have to take it off. I always like to take it off just to be safe. Usually you can get it off with a little bit of hand strength. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Just have to pinch it. If you can't, maybe get a pair of gloves, those ones that are rubber dipped. They give you a little more grip. And there you go. Comes right off. No problem. Now, with this one here, you can see there's a lower piece of brass and it screws in to the bigger piece of brass, which is all part of the rest of the faucet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab this smaller part. We already know that the water's off, so we'll have no surprises. Now a little bit of water might trickle out. So now we grab our water pump pliers and we want to adjust it so that it's about the size so that we can squeeze. It's important that we can squeeze the handles together so that we have some control over it. You don't want to put it on here so you're holding it like this. It's hard, you won't have as much control. You're probably going to slip, probably going to slam your knuckles against here, which will not feel very good. So, you know, you can kind of gauge, you look at it. There you go. Now we have a good grip. So once again, this is going to go in and out the same way. Right is tight, left is loose. So we want to put our pliers on, just grip the few threads, and you don't have to worry about getting the threads all marked up because this part doesn't thread into it. That's as far in as it'll go. So you make sure you just grab the threads on the part that is going to come out and just squeeze. You don't have to like strangle it. You just grip it enough to get a grip and start moving. Now it might be in there tight, so you just have to remember, as long as you're going left, you're going the right direction. So there we go. Take this brass piece out. We'll put it here. And now our cartridge will just slip right out. Now if your cartridge may or may not come out nice and easy, but usually you just give it a little wiggle, it'll come out. And now here's our cartridge. Now you can see on the front here, there's a gasket. My gasket stayed in. A lot of the time when you pull it out, your gasket won't stay in. It'll come off. That's not a big deal. You just go inside here and you can pull it off. Be very careful though. You know, don't try not to rip it, because if we can get that gasket back in, then that tells me that our problem was that this set nut here was just not tight enough. So, which is the perfect problem, because that just means we just have to tighten it. So with that being said, we check this out. It's all good. The gasket looks like it's all intact, so that's always good. There's no guck built on it. These are your lineup ticks or tabs or whatever you want to call them there, so that you can put this back in properly. Now what I always like to do is you just reach inside there and rub your finger around and just make sure there's no pieces of crud on the face or anything like that. That way we know it's all clean. So that feels all good. There's nothing in there that is sharp or anything. So now we're ready to put our piece back in, our cartridge back in there. Now, if you pull this out and this gasket is all messed up, you're probably best take a picture of this. Figure out what brand you have. The brand on mine is right on the tap handle. It's a Pfister, I don't know. You'll be able to figure it out anyways when you enter it online. And then you just have to order a new cartridge. A lot of companies will send you a new cartridge for free. At the most, it's going to cost you $20-30. Much, much cheaper than getting a whole new set of taps and installing them. So with that being said, let's reinsert this cartridge now, because I think it'll be fine if we just tighten it up. There we go. And you'll see you get it in there. You won't be able to turn it around. Now the handle part, don't be fooled by the handle part. It'll turn a little bit. But you turn it a bit and it should be snug. That's perfect. Take the set screw again. Sometimes it's tricky. Remember, never force any of this kind of stuff. It's got to go in, and it should go in nice and easy. 2 fingers should be able to tighten it most of the way in. Get it nice and snug with your fingers. Do not tighten it too far. This brass is very sharp. If you squeeze it and you get it so tight and your fingers slip, it's very sharp. You could cut your fingers, so I don't recommend, don't try and crank it all the way. That's why we have our water pump pliers right here. So now we take our water pump pliers, and now we hook on. Now we don't have to crush it, remember? Just those couple of threads on the outside. Get a good grip, just enough to hold on to it. Wait till it's snug. Once it's snug, just give it like a little bit more. Just a tiny bit. Because we don't want to crush it in there, because we don't want to crush things inside there. We just want it to be snug because there's a nice rubber gasket in there to hold things in. So now that we've done that, now we can actually turn the water back on. So here we go. We'll turn the water back on. All right, here we go. We got to turn our water back on. So righty-tighty is what we did the first time. Now we have to loosen it. Lefty-loosey to turn the water back on. There we go. Our cold's back on. Now our hot. It's got that nice quarter turn valve that's pointed off. So now we point it back up. Bang, there we go. Water is back on. There we go, the water's back on. There's no water leaking out. So it looks like we've done a good job, so we don't have to do anything else. The cartridge is fine. Just to show you that the water's back on. There we go. So that's awesome. Now we put the nice decorative cover back on. Once again, same thing with this. Make sure you're lined up nice and square. And it should spin on nice and easy. If it's not, sometimes you got to back it up a little to find where the threads click in. And then once it's on, just should spin nice and easy. If it doesn't spin nice and easy, you probably don't have the threads lined up nicely. There we go. We tighten it back up. Just hand tight's all it needs. Once we have that, now we can reinstall the handle. So we just take the handle. Pretty self-explanatory how that goes on. Slides back on. Make sure it's pushed all the way on. Before you tighten it, make sure it goes side to side. You turn the water on. Beautiful. Now we take our Allen key again. Remember, follow the handle. If you're fortunate and you have other ones that go on the top or wherever that's easier to find, that's awesome. And now you just go righty-tighty to the right. Probably have to go around a few times. I'm lucky my Allen keys are small enough. I can bypass. I don't have to keep refining it. So, oh, good thing I had my stoppers in, or I would have been fishing that out. So, once you get it snug, it's snug now. It's just a metal screw, set screw that goes into a piece of plastic. So you don't want to put it too tight because you don't want to crack it. So is what we do. We get it into there and just give it a little, just a little past snug. Now we're good. Put that Allen key back into the Allen key case so that we don't lose it. And look at that, water's on. There we have it. Water's back on. Shut that water off. Feel around under there. No water. We did it. You did it. Time to do your little happy dance. Sing a song. Cheer. Woo! Yeah, baby. Don't cheer too loud, especially if you live with a bunch of other people who might scare the heck out of them. Don't need any heart attacks, but how good do you feel now? We did it. We fixed a leaking faucet handle in your kitchen. Unreal feeling. Feels great. So, if you liked what I had to say here, please subscribe. Please like the video. You know, give me a thumbs up. All right. That's all. That's a wrap.